This is The Real Story with Michelle Makori.
China's President Xi Jinping has just crossed a line that Beijing has spent decades approaching quietly. Xi is now explicitly calling for China's currency, the renminbi or the yuan, to attain global reserve currency status. Xi unequivocally stated that China must build what he called a powerful currency that can be widely used in international trade, investment, and foreign exchange markets, and attain reserve currency status and ultimately be held by central banks as a reserve asset. Now, this is a very clear and very definitive statement of intent. China is openly signaling that it wants the yuan to play a central role in the global monetary system, to reduce its reliance on the US dollar, and effectively challenge the dollar status. And what's just as important, though, is when Beijing has chosen to surface this message. Now, these remarks were originally delivered in 2024 to senior Communist Party and financial officials, but they've only now been made public. Xi's reserve currency ambitions and plans were published in Qixi, that is the party's most authoritative policy journal. And in China, that is very intentional signaling. And the timing here matters because these remarks are being surfaced at a moment when the US dollar is under pressure, global monetary uncertainty is rising, and central banks around the world are actively rethinking how much exposure they want to the dollar. Trade tensions, the growing use of sanctions, and rising political risk have all fed into that reassessment. And China has moved from quietly expanding yuan usage for trade around the world to now explicitly naming its ultimate goal. Now, Xi went further. He laid out the institutional foundations that he believes are required to support reserve status: a powerful central bank with effective monetary control, globally competitive financial institutions, and international financial centers like Shanghai and Shenzhen capable of attracting global capital and influencing global pricing. And where do things stand today? Well, according to IMF data, the yuan still has a very, very long way to go. It currently makes up less than 2% of global foreign exchange reserves. The dollar still dominates with well over 57%, although that is down from around 71% in 2000, and the euro is roughly at 20%. And China still has capital controls, and the currency is not fully convertible. But this is not about tomorrow. This is about direction. And Beijing is making it clear that it no longer sees a dollar-centric monetary system as untouchable. On the contrary. Now, here's the critical question. Why would central banks want another fiat currency in their reserves? The attraction of the dollar is that it is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. The euro carries a similar institutional promise. So what is the attraction of the yuan? Well, it won't be just another fiat. It is becoming a fiat currency with implicit gold backing. China's officially reported gold holdings have risen to roughly 2,300 tons, and that's according to the World Gold Council. China has been steadily buying more and more gold year after year, quarter after quarter, including at least 14 consecutive months of net purchases through the end of 2025. And that is just the gold on record. Many analysts believe that China holds far more than that. Based on trade flows, import data, and long-standing disclosure gaps, some estimates for China's true gold holdings closer to between 3,000 and 5,000 tons. And there are higher-end, more speculative estimates that suggest China's total gold reserves could be as high as 10,000 tons or more. So Beijing's strategic gold accumulation pulls the yuan closer to a hard asset anchor in an era where trust in fiat alone is weakening. China may be gearing up to offer an alternative linked to gold. Now, China may not be ready and may not want to displace the dollar tomorrow, but it is definitely moving in on King Dollar's throne. And that is the real story.
This is The Real Story with Michelle Makori.